the focus seems to be on this year's Champions League as we edge closer to the semi-finals. But guess what, folks? Next year's Champions League is already underway and we're edging closer to the first qualifying round. And we've got the predictions coming up next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction show. Today we are taking a look at the first qualifying round for the 2020, that's right, 2021 Champions League, boys and girls. Oh yes, we're still going on with the current competition, edging to the semi-finals, but of course, the new one has got to get going. We've got to get the wheels in motion, boys. Wheels in motion. Because it's playing catch-up. We're playing catch-up around the world. And this year's domestic football, European competition is all going to be crazy. We're seeing changes of rule books left, right and centre, including this first qualifying round. We'll talk more about that in a minute, of course. Before that, big shout-out to the Patreon gang. That's right, supporting the channel in the way that they do. Patreon is a way that you can give me a little bit of extra Brucey bonus to kind of drive the channel in another way, and these guys, they're the Dirty Dozen, are doing just that. So I want a big shout out to them for supporting the channel as they continue to do so. Big shout out to Dylan Goddard, William Shepherd, LG and Cow, Bianca Muller, Daniel Miller, Cody Cahoe, Joachim Johansson, Tom Beresford, Tom Clark, John Sperm, Russell Foster, and Aztec Marky B Mark. Now, if anyone else is out there and thinking, you know what, I want to do just that, there is a link down in the old description, patreon.com/Roverseas. Check it out. There are perks and privileges, including hot topics, hot property, access to the live prediction league data as and when I'm updating it. Currently just for the Scottish League, but very, very soon League One out in France, and then of course all the other bits and pieces as they come and get them. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let's get into it. Of course, we're talking about the first qualifying round, but before then, we have the small matter of the preliminary final. Yes, that's right, the one and only match that was supposed to be scheduled earlier in the week, but of course, COVID strikes again. That's right. Goodness gracious me. Let's get into it. Take a look at it then, shall we? Champions League was meant to be Drita out of Kosovo taking on Linfield out of Northern Ireland, but it got postponed. And then UEFA slammed down the hammer on Drita and said, you know what, you've lost the game, your boys broke the rules, or whatever it was. They got the old COVID, and we're going to give it to Linfield. That's right, 3-0 winners out in Switzerland. Of course, the Linfield boys keeping to the rule book, keeping the boys in their bubble. And 3-0 was awarded to Linfield, and they're gone through. Yes, that's right. Upset my odds, of course. I actually went with Drita on this bad boy. I can't remember the scoreline. I should really have it in here, but I don't. I'm a bit sloppy today. It's been a long old day at work. Yeah, so Linfield go through to the first qualifying round, and we're going to take a look at those in a minute. But of course, I want to see how you guys got on. Who actually predicted Linfield to go through from Northern Ireland? Let's take a look at it then, shall we? So yes, Linfield will make it through, and they will be taking on Legia Warsaw from Poland next. We'll get to that in a minute. Big shout outs, here we go. Robert Johnson, he got that wrong. Bianca Muller also got it wrong. Patreon, respect to you though. Respect to you for taking that time out for your prediction. Fernando Jose Garcia Gurmund went for Linfield on penalties, got through. CCAA did shit. Slaving Celtic went with Linfield and got through as well. Keaton Zamerli, not too shabby. He also went with the right one there. Yannick Bustler also went with Linfield. Elgin Cow, respect to you, sir. Being a Patreon, of course, you got it right. Oliver something got Linfield as well. Jaden FC went with Drita just like me, and we got it wrong. Robert Arles also went with Drita just like me. And even Chadino Nossa Issa, he got the right one as well. Well done to you. I don't know why I'm giving you a plough. Round of applause. Aleska Progdanovic went with Linfield. Shane O'Donnell went with Drita. Unfortunately, you're in the shit-faced gang, buddy, like me. Screenshot Mania also went with Drita out of Kosovo. And I think, realistically, if they would have played on the pitch, they would have been schooled. But Linfield have got the rewards for playing by the pissing rules, boys. Play by the pissing rules. Let's not mess up the football calendar any further than it's already messed up. And let's continue on with the Champions League. Of course, again, eyes all are on the old semi-finals in the real world. But these are important games for the likes of Celtic, the likes of Legia Warsaw, the likes of Cluj, the likes of Dinamo Tbilisi. All these bad boys need to win these games to progress their dreams, of course, to get into the latter stages. So let's jump in the deep end and take a look at the next round of matches then, folks. Here we go. That's right. We're going to kick it all off with Ferencvárosi. They're going to be taking on Djurgårdens. Ferencvárosi coming out of, where are they going to come out? They come out of Hungary, taking on Djurgårdens, of course, coming out of Sweden. So let's take a closer look at these two. Now, these two have often never met, according to my reckoning. Of course, Ferencvárosi is probably the bigger of the two sides, European-wise. Heading into this, though, they come into this with the past 4 games towards the back end of their season, and of course into friendlies. They've won 4 of the past 5 games. The only slip up was way back 23rd of June. 2. Meanwhile, over in Sweden, Djurgårdens actually won 4 of the past 5 games as well. The only slip-up was against Hammarby. That was at the start of August, around about the 9th of August. Ferencvárosi, of course, Chief Whip, they're familiar faces to the old European scene, especially at this level. And to be honest with you, I'm going to go with them on this one with a 2-0. Quite comfortable in the end to squeeze on through. Again, all these games usually are 2-legged affairs, but for this year, probably this year only, it's going to be a 1-year affair. And is it played on neutral ground? I don't think it's played on neutral ground. Let me just clarify that. Nope, they're going to be played at home, where whoever it is being lucky enough to be hosting the game. So, Ferencvárosi, I see them squeezing on through against Djurgården. Next we have Celtic, of course, juggernauts here, taking on KR Reykjavík out of Iceland. These two sides have actually played a couple of times before, way back in 2014. It's actually been 2 wins, back-to-back wins for Celtic. Last time they played at Celtic Park was a 4-0 win. VVD on the score sheet with a brace. Teemu Pukki as well with a brace as well. And last time played in Iceland was a 1-0 win with Callum McGregor on the score sheet. Heading into this, of course, Celtic have a start of the season, albeit, of course, their last game was postponed. And if they don't get their act together, this one will get postponed as well. So they need to keep themselves on the straight and narrow. Here comes Luna. But they come into this, the last time out was against Kilmarnock. It was a 1-1 draw. The game against Aberdeen in the league has been kiboshed. So they fancy the chances. Meanwhile, back-to-back draws for the KR Reykjavík bad boys. They drew against Akureyri and also Fjonia out of the Icelandic league. So back-to-back draws for them, and the past 2 games have been postponed. Looks like the next game against Hacettepe will take place on the 14th of August. Now, this game will take place on the 18th of August. So, a game before that on this one. Realistically, you can't see anything but a Celtic win. I'm going 3-0, a little bit closer to the mark that they had last time around. Comfortable win for the Scots. And I think they'll do the bits as long as they play by the piss and rules. Next up, we have the Sheriff. That's right, the Sheriff are in town, coming out of Moldova. I think taking on CS Fola Esch, coming out of Luxembourg. Now, these two sides, let's take a closer look at these ones. If we've got any stats on these. The Sheriff down. They've not played CS Fola Esch, and to be honest with you, I don't got much knowledge about it, to be honest with you. Of course, 2 sides, a bit ropey. You're going to back the Luxembourgies on this one? I don't think so. Do I know anything about Sheriff? Do I know anything about it? I know they're in Moldova. They are currently managed by Zoran Sekitic. They did finish top of the pops out in Moldova last time around. That's all I've got for you. I do expect the Sheriff to come out on top. 2-1. I'm going with the 2-1, boys. Again, I'm not gonna waffle on like I know all these teams at the back of my hands, but we want to predict each and every game, boys. We're not mucking about here. We're not going to jump into the group stages like some other pundits out there. We're going to come in right from the beginning, and I'm going to go with the Sheriff. The Sheriff's in town, boys and girls, and they'll squeeze past Fola Esch out of Luxembourg. Again, 1-legged affair. Next up, we have Connah's Quay. Nomads coming out of Wales. They're going to be taking on FK Sarajevo, coming out of what do they call themselves these days? It is Bosnia-Herzegovina, of course. Sort it out. So anyway, these two sides never played each other. Of course they've not. But Connah Quay's Nomads coming out of Wales. What have we got on them then? Of course, I'm already fancying Sarajevo on this one. I doubt the Welsh are going to have anything in the tank to take on these bad boys. Anyway, the Welsh are currently managed by Andy Morrison. Yes, I think he's a former Rover, believe it or not. Respect to my brother. I'm going to be supporting him all the pissing way. That's right. He played 5 times for Rovers. He was actually in the Premier League era as well. He's also formerly of Manchester City. He is pulling the strings, 50 years old these days, of course. His opposite number for Sarajevo, currently managed by Viko Martinovic. They did finish first and the Bosnian League. I do expect that to be a little bit better standard than the Welsh football. So, but again, on any given day, you just don't know. And ultimately, but I think Sarajevo will quite come comfortably out of this one, 3-0 again, away from home as well. Believe it or not, without any fans. I think that's the going expectations here these days. And next up, we have Budućnost Bradečnica. For easier for me, say coming out of Montenegro, taking on Ludogorets Razgrad. Now, Razgrad are familiar faces at this level and also beyond. And I fancy the chances on this one. I do already leaning towards them as well as we try to find some information on these bad boys. To be honest with you, I ain't got much. But I know I love you. Look at me banging out the tunes here, boys. Yeah, I've got nothing on these two. I'm gonna go with Ludogorets Razgrad because I can't even pronounce the other team. And the other team are actually managed by Mladen Milanovic. They actually finished first in the Montenegrin league last season. Meanwhile, their opposite number, Ludogorets Razgrad, coming out of Bulgaria. Again, familiar numbers, and I do see them either in the latter stages of this tournament, or also the Uefa, the Europa League as well. They did finish top of the pops out in Bosnia as well, and they're regulars. They're regulars at the top of the pops out in Bosnia. I'm going to go with the Ludogorets Razgrad on this one, 3-1 in the end. Of course, they are. When you look at these sort of matches, there are 4 or 5 teams that realistically I don't think they should be at this level. Celtic being one of them, Razgrad being another one. You might go with Qarabağ on this one, Club Cluj or whatever it is from Romania. There are Riga Warsaw was another side that I think is just too big for this level. But anyway, next up we have Ararat-Armenia, and this was a tricky one up against Omonia Nicosia. Again, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Omonia. They are currently managed by Henningberg, aka former Rover. Of course, he did manage Rovers as well for a point, but it's also a Premier League winner with Rovers way back when. So I've got a soft spot for them. But also Ararat-Armenia are a tricky little side coming out of Armenia. They are actually managed by David Campagna, the first out of the Armenian League. Capacity of only 1,400 in the stadium. It just goes to show just how little they are realistically. I don't think Ararat-Armenia are going to have anything to take on with Omonia out of Cyprus. Ben Cyprus was there when I was a nipper. Got a soft spot for it, always will do. But I think, again, I'm going to go with Omonia on this one because of the Henningberg connection. He knows what he's doing. He ran away with the league last season, and that was their first league title in a while as well, I believe. So, yeah, tip-top banana for them, bad boys. So Armenia will squeeze through 2-1 over in Armenia as well. Next up we have Qarabağ coming out of Azerbaijan, taking on Sileks, coming out of North Macedonia. Of course, Qarabağ playing in Azerbaijan. They've got a nice stadium over there. Is it 5,800 seater capacity? Azerbaijan Arena. They did finish top of the pops at Azerbaijan. They're managed by Gurbanov, and their opposition on this one. Who is their opposition? It is Sileks. Sileks coming out of Macedonia. They finished second in the Macedonian League, managed by Goran Simonov. If that name rings any bells to you, you're a better man than me. These two, tricky one. This one again got not really stats. I don't really know too much about them, to be honest with you. Qarabağ usually get a little bit further into the old competition than this, so I'm going to go with them on this one with a 2-0 win for Qarabağ. Next up we have Dinamo Brest coming out of Belarus, taking on Astana coming out of Kazakhstan. Now these two again similar sort of opposition, probably one of the more difficult ties on this one, taking place on the 18th of August. These two. Dinamo Brest managed by Sergei Kovalevich. They did finish top of the pops out in Belarus, and they'll fancy the chances on this one, and they'll probably could go quite far. Meanwhile, Kazakhstan's Premier League winners, it is Astana. Of course, they did play out of the Savarok Kazazanya Stadium. 30,000. This one's tricky. I really don't know which way to go on this one. Again, I am plucking at straws here because I don't know. I really don't know on this one. It's tough. It is tough. Be sure to get your own predictions. And I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Astana over Dinamo Brest out of Belarus. So that's the first side of the old draw here. Let's get into the back end of it now. Take a look at Molde. Molde's coming out of Norway. They're going to be taking on Kups coming out of Finland, I believe. Let's take a closer look at these bad boys. Molde, of course, formerly Solskjaer's team. Is that right? They're currently managed by Erling Moe. They did finish top of the pops out in the Illustrien out in Norway. Decent little team here taking on the Cups coming out of Finland. Of course, the standard of football in Norway is significantly better, especially the league, I feel, than compared to the Finnish Champions Cups, who are managed by Armi Aradsen. So realistically, I'm going to side with Molde on this one, 2-0 in the end. I can't really give you much more than that. Next up, we have FC Flora. FC Flora coming out of... where are they coming out of? FC Flora. I'm struggling. They're coming out of Estonia, I believe. Taking on Sūduva, coming out of Lithuania. Bad boys. Now, what have we got on these? Again, take place on the 19th of August. Again, all one-legged affairs. These bad boys. Tricky ones to call. I'm going to go with Flora on this one. Managed by Jürgen Hearn. Sounds like a German. He must know his stuff. Of course, they did finish top of the pops out in... Estonia. Meanwhile, Sūduva did also finish as champions out in Lithuania, currently managed by Salmis Subalaris. Tricky one, this one. I think I might have gone with Sūduva on this one. No, I went with FC Flora. FC Flora 2-1 to nick it. What about you, boys? What do you think on this one? Again, it is a very much lucky dip on a lot of these bad boys. So we'll have to see. Next up, though, Floriana taking on one of the stronger teams again in this one. CFR Cluj coming out of Romania. Their opposition, Flora coming out of Malta. Again, you know, your butchers, your bakers, your candlestick makers. Taking place on the 19th of August. Don't really know much about Floriana, but CFR Cluj should really breeze past this one quite comfortably, even if it is away from home. Floriana are the Maltese champions, currently managed by Vincenzo Pontenza. Bunch of amateurs, I think. So they're going to be one of the whipping boys, I suspect. Meanwhile, CFR Cluj did finish first. They are managed by ex-Chelsea man Dan Petrescu, former Sheffield Wednesday man as well, who's now governor or the gaffer, 52 years of age of CFR Cluj. Again, he used to play for Southampton, Bradford City as well. Of course, legend in the Romanian game, formerly Dinamo Moscow manager as well. He's been around the block. He knows a thing or two, and he'll know how to get 4-0 Bobby Dazzler over Floriana to see them crashing out. Next up, we have Legia Warsaw up against the preliminary winners. Linfield, of course. They might be a little bit rusty. Again, probably a bunch of amateurs in the Linfield team. Legia Warsaw should quite comfortably smash these bad boys. They finished top of the pops out in Poland. Currently managed by Dariusz Murieski. Linfield, of course, managed by David Healy, of course, Northern Ireland superstar. He's a goal-scoring machine back in the day, formerly of Preston, Sunderland. Who else was he a player for way back when? He's a youngster as well. I think he's just older than me, just a pinch. Formerly Man United way back when, Rangers as well. He could still probably kick a ball about, but realistically, this is where their tournament ends. 3-1 win for Legia Warsaw quite comfortably. Next up, we have Red Star Belgrade. I know it says Servina Sazvadza, but it does mean Red Star Belgrade. I know my Belarusian or whatever, not my Belarusian. I know my languages. It is Serbian. Up against Europa, coming out of Gibraltar. That's right. Next up, we have Servina Srvadza, a.k.a. Red Star Belgrade. They're going to be taking on Europa, coming out of Gibraltar. Of course, this should be a one-sided affair. It should be an illegal contest. 53,000 capacity on a given day, Red Star Belgrade. Former winners, right? Former winners of the Champions League, I believe. According to I'm pretty sure they won the European Cup way back in 1991, and they're here. Insulted. If they've been insulted to play Gibraltar, they should be in the group stages along with Ajax. All the former juggernauts should be there, should have a passage through. But anyway, they've got to do it the hard way. They're going to be taking on Europa. They are managed by Dusan Stankovic, who is a former Inter Milan man, Lazio man. Of course, Red Star Belgrade man. He's also managed or been assistant at Udinese. Meanwhile, Europa, currently champions out of Gibraltar, managed by Rafa Escobar. Again, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. This should be a one-sided affair. I'm going heavy with a 4-0 win, bad boys. Into the back end there, NK Celje. They are from, where are they from? I'm having trouble where to figure out. They are actually from Slovenia, taking on Dundalk, coming out of Ireland. This one's tricky. Usually I would go against the Irish, but I think Dundalk are quite a savvy little team. Managed by Celje, actually managed by Dusan Kosic, finished top of the pops out in Slovenia. Up against Dundalk, who did finish top of the pops out in Ireland, actually managed by Vinnie Perth. Do we know who Vinnie Perth is? No, we don't. He's formerly of former player of Shamrock. He's probably not much of a decent player, really. But he seems to be doing the bit as manager of Dundalk. I think I'm going to side with Dundalk in this one. No, I'm not. Going with Sileks. I'm going against the grain here, boys. I'm going against the grain. 2-1 win for Sileks out of Slovenia. Next up, Maccabi Tel Aviv out of Israel, taking on Riga. Riga come out of... where did they come out of? They come out of Latvia. Correct me if I'm wrong. This one takes place on the 19th of August. Maccabi Tel Aviv, champions of Israel, of course, managed by Georgi Donetsk. Goodness gracious me, can we have any more ex-Rovers? Georgi Donetsk managing the boys. I'm going with these guys, of course. Ex-Rover, of course, extraordinaire. Managed quite a lot of teams out in Greece. And also out in the Middle East, of course. Ex-Rover, legend of the game, Georgi Donetsk. We're all aboard this one. We're all aboard. Up against Riga, Oleg Knokhanov is the manager there for these bad boys. It's a walk in the park. It's a walk in the pissing park. Maccabi Tel Aviv with a 2-0 win, going through to the next round. Dinamo Tbilisi coming out of Georgia. They're going to be taking on KF Tirana. Dinamo Tbilisi. I don't have the badge there, unfortunately. But anyway, they're going to be taking on Tirana out of Albania. Let's take a look at Dinamo Tbilisi. They are actually managed by Kabir Kankatiani. Don't know who that is. Of course, Georgian champions taking on, of course, these bad boys, Albanian champions, managed by Ugobu. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. you know, they might have played each other before. I don't know. But I'm going to go with Dinamo Tbilisi in this one. 3-1 win in the end. And wrapping it up, KI Klasovic coming out of Faroes, taking on Slovan Bratislava. Again, this one's illegal. Taking place on the 19th of August as well. KI coming out of the Faroes. Much of teachers, barmen, whatever. They're actually champions out of the Faroe League. They're actually 22,000. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong one here. KIF Tirana, champions of Faroes. What am I talking about? So the Faroe champions are actually playing in front of 2,600 people on any given day. Of course, not these days. They're currently champions of the Faroe League. Mikael Thomason is the governor there. Meanwhile, Slovan Bratislava usually play in front of 22,500 folks. Again, they're not this time. Jan Kosek Jr. is the manager. And again, they finished top of the pops out in their domestic league. And again, I expect them to smash them, dash them, and destroy them. 4-0 win to go through into the next round, boys and girls. I know we already have an inkling of who is waiting for them. The likes of Midtjylland out of Denmark, Dinamo Zagreb out of Croatia, Young Boys Bern as well will be waiting for them. And then there's other ones already waiting for them. AZ Alkmaar, Victoria Pilsen, PAOK, Lokomotiv something, Rapid Vienna, and Besiktas as well. So a lot of big teams waiting for these bad boys. We'll have to wait and see who takes on who a little bit later on. But that's it, my friends. That's all I've got for you. In fact, before I go, I want to let you know on a bit of an insider, bit of a scoop here. Of course, later on in the tournament, when we get to the group stage, we'll have the prediction league for the Champions League. So make sure you get involved with that. And the best way to do it is smash the old subscribe button right up there, but it's usually down there on the bottom right hand corner. Of course, bang the old little bell as well. Of course, this is just for fun. Getting stuck in the old comment section, get your predictions up and at them, and then we'll take a little look at them next time around and see how well you do. But that's all I've got for you today, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up. And if you are new, bang the old subscribe button. Give me a banger today with all things Blap and Rose related, Champions League related, this season, last season, next season. What do you got it all here, boys? Under one Ruski. If you want to go that extra mile and support the channel in another way, you can become a patron, which is a brother from another mother and all that kind of stuff. We'll be best friends for life. Check out in the description, patreon.com/Roverseas if that's something that suits, that's up your alley. I do appreciate it, and you'll become my new best mate, and we'll hang out. We'll hang out every now and again. Oh yes, brother. Oh yes. Check it all out, patreon.com/Roverseas. Until then, though, of course, we're doing the same thing for the Europa League, so make sure you stick around for that bad boy, and also check out DigiCast's predictions for these games as well. Until then, though, I'll see you all on the other side. Be safe.